This is part 11 of the truth and the history of the corruption within the United States. And in my last video, I was discussing how the Bank of France looked inside of their vault and seen a lot of United States Federal Reserve notes in there, and they called over to the United States government in 1970, basically wanted to exercise their option from the Bretton Woods Agreement to trade in these notes for gold. And that brought us to this man right here, President Richard Nixon, because in August 15th of 1971, he temporarily suspended the convertibility of gold to the United States dollar. And by him doing that, that effectively ended the Bretton Woods Agreement. And see, many other foreign nations began to get worried about the amount of loans that they had in the United States and refused to loan anything else without some form of collateral. So that's when Richard Nixon started what we would call the environmental movement. So with the help of the EPA, or the Environmental Protection Agency, and its various programs like the national forests, these roadless areas, different wetlands, and all these city parks, all of which took vast areas of public lands and made them off limits to the American people, who was technically the owners of the land. But see, Richard Nixon did not care about the environment, because the real purpose of this land grab, of this environmental movement, was to pledge these lands in these pristine areas with a vast amount of resources as collateral on the nation's debt. And the plethora of these financial programs that we see even to this day is to conceal the true scale of land being pledged to these foreign lenders, which is being used just as collateral to the United States government's debt. And eventually, it totaling out to be almost 25% of the nation itself. Now, me personally, I live by a lot of national forests, so it's pretty disturbing to see that most of these forests that I go to go hiking or various other things are not actually owned by the United States. And eventually, it became a point where even these two were not enough for the collateral that was needed for the United States government's debt. So the US government embarked on a new program to shore up sagging international demand for the dollar. So the United States government came up with another scheme by approaching the top oil producers across the globe. And where is that, you might ask? You guessed it, right here in the Middle East, where they approached them with a deal. And the deal was basically that if they exchanged their oil only in United States dollars, the United States would guarantee military protection for these oil-rich countries. And these oil-rich nations would agree to invest their U.S. paper notes inside the United States. I'm running out of time, but like for part 12. This part gets deep.